What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and we're going to be taking a look at the charts as usual. So we're going to take a look at the Dow, the DXY, Bitcoin, gold, silver. We'll even take a look at Tesla and oil. So definitely stick around for the whole video. We'll also take a look at that Binance chart that I've been showing for quite some time. And I'll tell you why I believe we are still going to see a massive crash. In my opinion, of course, this is not financial advice. This is strictly my opinion and what I see in the charts. Nothing has changed my view yet that I think we're going to see a massive crash soon. Now, could Bitcoin rally up higher? Yes, we've had a higher target as a possibility for a long time. We'll take a look at those also. Either way, I think the biggest money grab in history, it's on its way. If you guys like the sounds of that, or if you enjoy the videos, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure your notification bells are ticked. A lot of people told me that YouTube unsubscribed to them. So make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure your notification bells are ticked. Let's get into it. So taking a look at what's going on in the Dow. As you guys know, we've had this top trend line marked at 34,026, 34,050, somewhere in that range. As the highest point I see this going. Now, if we start opening and closing dailies above this trend line, then my theory may be wrong. We may be seeing much higher highs in all markets, but let's take a look at what's going on. So as you guys can see, the trend line in the RSI down here, we're almost up to that. That would line up with this here. Now, if we put the Fibonacci retracement from this high to this low, our 0.786 also lines up with that 34,026 area. So if we do break that, we could be seeing much higher highs, but as of right now, still seeing in the charts much lower lows coming. Now, everyone's getting very bullish here. Usually that's when you see the biggest drops occur. So, well, let's take a look at the S&P. S&P right now still in this rising channel, which is usually a bearish sign. As you can see here in the RSI, we're just making a rising wedge. I do think that we come back down to break this. Once we break that trend line, we have a target of 33.75. And then looking at this whole thing as a bear flag, could go as low as this 26.34 range, which would line up with this trend line from all the way back here in 2009, right? Come back down for a retest and continue on up from there. When do I think that'll happen? Probably the same thing I've been saying since December 2nd, 2021. I'll leave that video at the end of this video up top so you can watch it. But I talked about the Bitcoin bottom being in September or October of this year. I still believe that to be true. Unless, of course, everything breaks out and goes to new all-time highs, which I do not believe is happening. Let's take a look at the DXY. So the DXY, we are still getting our bounce from this 1019, which was looking at this as a 1-2 wave. Now, could this go further? Yes, it could go further down. I know a lot of fear is in the dollar. Everybody's scared the dollar is going to, evaporate, is going to be worth nothing, which I do believe will probably happen in the future, but I don't think it's going to happen as quick as everybody's seeing. Usually when there is a bunch of fear pumped into something, it's because big money and smart money is getting in it. They don't want you in it. So what happens, and I've showed you guys this plenty of times on the DXY chart. Let's show you over here. So this is 2008, right? We had the huge crash, and everybody was fearing the dollar back then too. A lot of you probably weren't around back then, but everyone was fearing the dollar was going to go to zero. And then the dollar rallied. The markets crashed while the dollar rallied, right? And then what happened? Everybody, all the smart money got into the dollar while the markets crashed. And then they switched from the dollar when the markets bottomed, got into the markets, and the markets rallied big time. I do believe we're going to see the same type thing here. And if you zoom in here to where we're at, what does this look like? It looks like a W. Does that mean we have to stop here and continue up? Now, we could still go lower and it would just make a double bottom. But either way, you see my wave count here. I think the dollar is getting ready for a rally. If If we do go down a little bit lower, we still will get that rally, in my opinion. If you look at the RSI here, it shows we could come back down to retest this falling wedge that it broke out of. And everyone would get super scared then, obviously. But either way, I still think we see a massive rally to the upside for the DXY and a massive downturn for the markets. Before we get into Bitcoin, if you guys are interested in trading, check out Prime XBT, by far my favorite exchange. They don't trade against you like a lot of the ones. Check the difference between A-Book and B-Book exchange. Find out for yourself. But you can trade Forex, gold, silver, oil, S&P, Dow Jones, Bitcoin, everything all from one exchange. They do help sponsor the channel. As you guys know, I've been in a short, and my stop was 29.2. We hit 29,186. So we did not get the scam wick that you got on most exchanges going above that. So as of right now, I'm still in that short. If I get stopped out, I look for a new short, and I'll show you guys where. But if you guys are interested in checking it out, there's also, you can do copy trading. Yeah, definitely check them out. My link is down below. Use my link. You'll get a bonus. You can use my promo code Savvy50. You'll get it up to a $7,000 bonus. Savvy25 will get you 25% off your fees. So looking at the monthly, as you guys know, looking at the monthly on the RSI, I do believe we come back down to retest this, and that'll be our true bottom, probably September, October-ish. That's what I've been looking for. As you can see, this has become major resistance here at that 29.2 level, right? Major resistance. Now, if we were to break above that, our next major resistance is going to be around 32 to 33,000. But I'll show you where my targets are on that. So looking at the weekly, you can see the trend line I drew off these top two wicks. That also lines up with the 0.12 or 1.272 Fibonacci range. If we were to get up to this 32 range, I do see a massive rejection here. You can see it also in the RSI. There is room for a little pump, so it is possible. Not saying it's going to go from here, but definitely could. Either way, I still see lower lows coming. As you guys know, this was our target right here. From looking at the white top here, the falling wedge, right? We take the measured move of the widest point of the wedge to where we broke out. That's where we got this target here, which has become major resistance. We're still getting resistance here. Now, if we do get a bump above this, we do also have one more target. Looking at this dotted yellow line here, and we'll take the measured move from there. So looking at it as a much bigger rising broadening wedge to where it broke out, that's what gets us our 31.5 range. So if I get stopped out here at that 28.2 or 29.2, which is on prime, if I get stopped out, then I look for shorts up here. I'm not interested in longing in a bear market, guys. Look at this trend. This trend is still down. And I've showed you, I believe it's in a bubble pop pattern. I've showed you this many a times. Now let's look at, you can tell this blue trend line that used to be our old resistance became support and then resistance. And we're just bouncing around that now. We can't seem to close, open and close a bunch of 4-hourlies above. As long as we remain below here, I think we come back down to around this 24.8 range, probably get a bounce there. Maybe back up to test the 200 EMA at maybe 27,000 or so before coming down, testing this again. Once that breaks, then we have support at 23,000. That breaks 20,900. But I believe we come back down to test this bottom trend line here. Is it going to be around 18 to 19,000, depending on if and when it hits? Probably another bounce there. If that breaks, then we got all the way down to around our 12.8. Somewhere in that range down here off of these bottom wicks. But again, guys, I still remain bearish. Even if we do come up to these 31.5 to 31.6 ranges, I still think we continue on down. Here's the .com bubble. Remember, guys, when the markets crashed there, all markets crashed back then. They got rid of all the scammy garbage companies. Same thing I think will happen with over here in the Bitcoin bubble. Get rid of all the garbage, all the crappy exchanges, all the shit coins, all that stuff. And also here in the RSI, we talked about this being the false bottom when this weekly broke. It did break. I didn't think that was a false bottom, but it definitely could have been the false bottom. But still, nevertheless, we still have further down to go. As you can see, same type patterns are forming. You guys know that we watch for patterns in this market, and they usually play out to our advantage. Here's the Nintendo bubble pop. And yes, you can compare Nintendo to Bitcoin. You can compare it to pet rocks. It doesn't matter. It's a market. Markets move on human emotion and what fear and greed and everything the news pumps, right? So you can see here, look at this huge rally here for Nintendo. Looks just like the one we got here to get everyone bullish again, break all the EMAs, and then continue down for the true bottom. And I believe this will be the buy zone somewhere in here between 45 and 8,500, somewhere in that range. Probably have plenty of time to buy down there. There will be tons of fear in the market. I don't think it's going to shoot back up straight to the moon. When bubbles pop, they take a long time to recover. This was from the bottom. Well, let's go from over here. That was 2 years on the bottom there, right? Let's take a look at the Sony bubble pop. Same thing, but we had a few false bottoms here. But the true bottom was years, right? Took a couple years before the true bottom was hit, and then the rally. This rally looks fast and swift, but it was time consuming. But we could see something like this. Either way, bubble pop patterns usually play out just like that. So oil, as you guys know, oil, my target was 62.54. We did not quite hit it. I still think we come back down to at least tag that range, but if that breaks, we have much lower to go for oil. If you look at where we're at here, we're showing hidden bearish divergence in a downtrend. We got rejected at our 200 EMA. I still think we see oil down to these ranges. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla, as you guys know, my target I'm looking for is 50 to 60 bucks for Tesla. We've been looking for it since the break over here. Told you guys we'd have bounces, coming all the way down. And that's exactly what we're getting. We're getting rejected on the 200 EMA there. Also, most likely going to head down here, probably September, October. Everything should bottom around the same range, if I'm correct. Here's gold. Gold came back up, retested this rising channel that we've had sitting here for 2 years. Came back up for a retest. I do think we continue back down. Now, if the markets do rally, gold gets back above this and inside here, then all bets are off for the lower lows for gold. But I do see gold getting down to at least our target that we've had for 2 years, around 1550 if that breaks, 1450 if that breaks, much, much lower. Silver, same thing, guys. This is still playing out beautifully. Looking for around this 15.6, somewhere in that range, $15.60 range. If that breaks, then it could go much, much lower, depending on how bad this bear market is. But as you can see, same thing, higher highs in the RSI, lower highs in the price action, hidden bearish divergence in a downtrend. Nothing's looking bullish there. And how bad could it get for the Dow if it was to play out like it has before, Great Depression style? You can see what happened here. Could we do that? It's possible. Do I think it'll go that low? Possibly. Do I guarantee it's going that low? No, nothing is a guarantee, right? But guys, it could get very ugly. Could get some very bad news. People say you can't predict a black swan, but if you guys were around, I predicted this big drop here. We all know what that was. And if you go back and look at my videos, weeks ahead of time, I was calling for this. I was calling not quite as low as it went, but I was calling for lower lows. Let's look at BNB. BNB, I've talked about this a lot. It is looking like it is going to collapse within the coming months. I do think it will have a massive, massive drop. What will cause it? I don't know, but it's still playing out, guys. Just be careful with that. Something's going on with Binance. You can call it FUD. You could say number 4. You can say whatever you want. The charts are showing that Binance or BNB is in trouble. So be careful, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, smash that thumbs up. Make sure you share the video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Here's the video from 2021. December 2nd, where I talked about Bitcoin bottom being sometime in September or October. I still stick to that. People say I was calling for the false bottom in March. I was, but either way, September, October is when I called for the Bitcoin lows. I still believe that is a very good possibility, unless these markets just go crazy and rally. But I don't know. I see a lot of fear being put in the dollar. Take it easy, guys. I'm out.